Hi again. We were talking about integrated library systems, and I started to talk about the discovery layer. The important thing to remember about the discovery layer is that it is basically a shared index across your catalog, your databases, and possibly other systems that you have. WMS, for instance, includes Content DM records in its searches of the UNCG catalog databases, Content DM, archival materials. You can have all of those systems there included in your discovery layer, and these work best when there's a shared indexing system. For instance, Academic Search Complete from EBSCO and your catalog system use Library of Congress subject headings. So when you search something that's a Library of Congress subject heading, you're going to be bringing up your books, your journal records, and other materials that have that same system of description. So we've basically been talking about published materials, but I want to take the rest of the time to talk about unique content. So what is unique content? Maybe your school has a yearbook. Maybe it produces a newspaper. Maybe there's a literary journal that's produced. I know that at Gateway Community College that I was at in New Haven, Connecticut, we sometimes did a yearbook. It depended on if the students had enough energy to keep the yearbook going or not. We didn't have a newspaper, but we did have a literary journal that came out occasionally. And we didn't really have faculty publications, but we had a little institutional archive. And institutional archives are things like reports, accreditation materials, meeting minutes. These are public documents that could be shared across the campus if they were in an institutional archive and described correctly. So where do these kinds of documents reside? Well, in big libraries, there have grown up totally separate systems called institutional repositories, which manage the intellectual output of your institution, faculty publications, for instance, but it also could be that more kind of archival material. And these can be a module on your ILS. So some systems now are selling separate modules that can be for your unpublished material or your not as well published material, however you want to look at it. But there are examples of other systems. DSpace was the original one. It was developed at MIT. But any of the content management systems can be used as institutional repositories. You just have to describe the records in a different kind of way. And there's also a very simple system, and the reason I mention this particular one called the Digital Commons is that I saw a presentation by two community college librarians about how they use this system. So it was a fairly small college, and I think that they utilized it in a very efficient way. So there are also unique collections that you can build from digital collections. So you can, for instance, let's say you have a collection of old yearbooks. First, you want to digitize these, which can be done in-house. Maybe your school teaches a local history class. Learning how to digitize is really interesting thing for them to do. And a digital collection system should be able to handle audio as well, possibly video, and definitely images, which is what I meant to put after the or. Examples, the big one is Content DM, which is a system that I teach students how to use. Again, any of the content management systems can do this. And then that Digital Commons, and I have a link here on the PowerPoint that goes to that system. And I also have one on the in fact, I can go there. So you can see that they can manage conferences and events. You can publish theses or maybe honors papers. Here's faculty. Here's a digital commons, a digital collection of images. Publishing journals. Remember that newspaper or that literary journal. Online books can be published here. So let's say your faculty want to get together and create a textbook for their class, then this would be a way to go. And one of my students worked with a school library this year, and it was a very simple, elegant solution to the idea of possibly taking care of your unique content in a really simple way. So she worked with a school library, and they had a collection of yearbooks that they wanted to digitize. So she scanned the yearbooks into PDFs. She used a software called Calibri, and this software was fairly amazing to me. It actually created EPUBs, and they can be read like a book. You can actually flip the pages, and also with that system, you can tag or catalog the item, and then after that was done, they were placed into the Follett their Follett catalog, which is an ILS, and they were considered ebooks. So basically they didn't have to get, a Content DM collection or anything like that. They just treated them like electronic materials and put them right into their catalog. Very simple, very elegant. So this is not the end-all and be-all of technology. I haven't even scratched the surface of instructional technology, which is increasingly important. We talked just a little bit about learning management systems, and those are super important. If you go back and listen to the Embedded Librarian discussion on the VoiceThread, you'll hear a post from Andrea, who is one of the people in the class, and she said that librarians at her institution are actually in on the design of 3 different classes, the instructional design of these 3 different classes that are going to be offered across the state in the SUNY system, and librarians are being brought in from the get-go of that instructional design. So increasingly important to the work we do in libraries. Um, this was very focused on collections, the technologies that I talked about here, but that's because I think we talked a little bit about those other technologies in the embedded librarianship section and also in the instructional design section. So how do you keep up? Well, you're taking a webinar, and I hope that I've helped, Mike and I have helped maybe increase your skills across a number of different areas in this webinar. You have to keep up with the literature and just have fun. Download new stuff. Figure out apps on your own. Maybe design an app. That's going to be one of my goals this summer. There are some very simple app writing programs. I'm going to see if I can write an app. It'll be new for me. Formal instruction sessions from vendors that you work with. You know, WMS doesn't arrive in a box and you figure it out. There are people who can do instruction for your unit or for your group or whoever is involved in the purchase decision. And for some technologies, why not take a class at your own community college? Because those kinds of technologies might underlie some of the things that I'm talking about here, and would be sort of a deeper level of technology knowledge that you could add to your skill set. So thanks for listening. I've put up a discussion board basically talking about what technologies you're working with your ILS. Are you using a learning management system? And those kinds of questions. I'll be really interested in your answers. Thanks for listening.